Smiling Observer, and this is really a response video to my friend Mellow Yellow, a response video to her 25 things about me. So I'm going to tell you 25 things about me. Okay. Number one, the first half of my life, I suffered with depression. My dad is bipolar, and looking back on it, I believe to whatever degree I may be suffering some of the same symptoms because I've my I didn't used to like to play with my cousins. Well, I did, but there were times when they wanted to play with me, but I misinterpreted as they were picking on me, and so I would get upset. So I wonder how much of my dad having been bipolar had an effect on me. But anyway, moving on. Number two, I am deeply religious. I am a Christian. I believe in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and this is due in part to my mother. The first 5 years of my life, I remember my time with her, and we would be going back and forth to church. And she taught me a lot about God, and that I should love God, and that God was my father because my natural father was not there. So I learned a respect for God very early on. And even though I grew up and I did my own things, I lived my own life, not necessarily right, I still knew what I had been taught. And eventually, God was able to deal with my heart and bring me back to Him. So, but yes, I am deeply religious. Perhaps you've noticed that I don't curse in any of my videos. That's why. Okay, number three. I've always wanted to be an entertainer. As a kid, one of my loves was watching TV, watching cartoons, and I've always wanted to be an actor or entertainer of some sort, and I pursued it to whatever degree, but I never really followed through. I guess I get to live that out in my YouTube videos. So there you go. That's as far as I want to take it. I don't want to be an actor today, although I do kind of imagine how things may have turned out had I pursued it. But anyway, number four. Now, please don't look at me the wrong way when I say this, but I get along better with a group of white people than I do with a group of black people. I don't know why, I just always have. It's funny, I've been accused and it's been suggested that maybe I'm racist, but some of those people that did the accusing didn't know that in grade school, my best friend just happened to be a white kid. Me and him got along great. It was always him and I. I thought we were going to be friends well into our adulthood. But I moved away, and I didn't see him again until I was in high school. And by that time, we had grown so far apart that it wasn't really, it was kind of difficult to get our relationship back together where we were, it was me and him chilling. So, but yeah, I get along better with whites than I do blacks. I don't know why. Okay, number five. Oh yeah, that moves me into number five. Um, One of the best friends I ever had growing up was that white guy, and his name was Tim Wood. He was the coolest guy. I mean, back in the '80s, we had a career day at my elementary school, and I wore my uncle's hard hat, and I had a bunch of tools and a tool belt, and I wore jeans and a shirt. And I went to school, and I was like, yeah, I'm a construction guy. And Tim Wood came to school. He had on white slacks. He had on a white coat, a suit coat with his sleeves pushed up on his elbows, and he had on a teal green shirt. And during that time, Miami Vice was big on TV, and so we all just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And when we went to get judged to see who was gonna win the contest, I I just knew Tim Wood had it. I knew Tim Wood won. He didn't win. And not only was I surprised, but a lot of the kids were surprised because he clearly had the best outfit on, but he didn't win. But such is life. Number six, I can be naive to a fault. And I'm not going to go into detail on that, but I can be somewhat on the naive side. Number seven, I can't watch scary movies. I stopped watching TV back in 1997, and um, I didn't even watch movies, you know. And it wasn't until 2004 that I started getting DVDs and watching movies again. But my point is, when it came to watching scary movies, I cannot do it. It's just not in me. I don't like to see people being tortured and mistreated. It bothers me. So that brings me to number eight, action movies. I love action movies. I can watch action movies all day. Like I really like The Expendables, and I just saw another commercial for The Expendables 3. They got Wesley Snipes in it. They got Antonio Banderas in it. They got Harrison Ford in it. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait for The Expendables 3. It's gonna be awesome. Okay, number nine. I believe everyone's my friend until they prove me wrong. I guess that goes back to being naive. Um, Nobody trusts everybody. I don't trust everybody. But to whatever degree, if you and I get along, I just go ahead and consider you my friend, even if we're not friends. Even if we haven't decided, yeah, we're friends. But that's thinking like that has actually burned me in the past. So, number 10. I am still kind of heartbroken over a girl that rejected me back in high school. I thought she was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen in my life. And if there were other girls in high school that were more beautiful than she was, they didn't have my attention. This girl did. Um, I was in love with her to whatever degree. I thought um, that I could be a very good person to her, but for whatever reason, she didn't like me, and she rejected me, and she made it clear that she didn't like me. And even to this day, I don't think she likes me very much. And I would be very much surprised if she came up to me and started talking to me. But um, she broke my heart. But oh well. Years later, I found myself in the same position that she was in. I had a woman, and she really liked me. And who knows how deeply in love with me she was. But I didn't like her, and I went to great lengths to avoid her. And when I would see her, I would ignore her, and I just didn't like her. And so I imagine that I must have made that girl from high school feel that way. And so now that I'm an adult and I understand things differently, life has taught me some hard lessons. I realize how she felt. Even though I still feel somewhat heartbroken from high school, um, I'm willing to look past all of that and hold nothing against her. Um, if I saw her, I would probably speak hi, hello, wave, nod, but I wouldn't go out of my way to talk to her. I will let her go her way and I will go mine. Now, if she decided that she wanted to talk to me, then that's fine. I will talk to her, but not in an attempt to get with her. I don't believe that I could date her. Anyway, um, that was number 10. Number 11, I once elbowed a guy in the throat. And later on, I began to feel justified for having done it. So, I'm not going to go into detail. I call myself smart and observer, and many of my um, circle of people who watch my videos, they're like, wow, you seem like such a sweet guy. Yeah, I am a sweet guy, but sometimes I elbow folks in the throat. But anyway, um, number 12, I miss my mother dearly. My mother passed away December of 2012. I had been working to save up the money so that I could go and spend 2 weeks with her for Christmas. And I wanted to do it in such a way that when I came back home, I didn't find an eviction notice on my door. But unfortunately, she passed before I could get the money together. And I ended up going to see her funeral on, on a dry bank account. Speaking of which, my friend Mellow Yellow, she did a video on paranormal, and this is a side note. I wanted to do a video on the paranormal too, in response to her video. But Mellow, I will say this: if you're watching up to this point, the day my mother died, I was at work, and I was going throughout the day doing my business, and all of a sudden I began to get a picture in my head. It was a picture that came in the inner recesses of my mind, and it was a picture of my mom in a casket. And when that happened, I shook my head. I refused to think about it, and I thought to myself, no, I will not think that way. This happened twice that day, and I had that picture again, and it was a picture of my mom in a casket, and I refused to dwell on it. So I went home that day. My cell phone battery had depleted. I had um, no power. So when I got home, I plugged it up, charged it, and I went to sleep. And that night when I woke up, um, I discovered that everybody was trying to get a hold of me. And my cousin called me and told me that my mom had passed. And I realized that those visions of her in a casket popping into my head was a premonition of sorts, and I believe it was God letting me know that my mom was gone. Um, I've had other things that I consider paranormal happen to me that I've experienced that I'd like to tell you about, but we'll save that for another video. And I've always heard of people having experiences like this, but I never thought it would happen to me. It always scared me when other people talk about it, their experiences, but it happened to me, and it wasn't scary, but at the same time, it was disappointing because it was my mom. So we'll move on. 13. I would love to live in England. I don't have to live in London. I don't have to live in um, um, one of the boroughs. I guess you could call them boroughs. I don't. It doesn't necessarily have to be London. It doesn't have to necessarily have to be Scotland. It doesn't necessarily have to be Ireland. Um, um, it could be any of the outlying villages. I would just love to live a whole year in London, in England, on the British economy, and to work with people there on a job. And well, I would love to do that. And who knows? Maybe I'll get to one of these days. Number 14. I've always wanted to be an actor, but at one point I wanted to be a director too. And just looking at myself in the way that I've been, I realized that I would probably make a better director than I would actor. You give me somebody with talent, and I believe I can direct them and get them to bring out a certain characteristic in a character, or bring out a story the way I'm trying to portray it. So, yeah, there was a time when I wanted to go to director school. Okay. 15. I try to look for the best in people. Um, Sometimes when people are a jerk to me, I understand. I I throw my hands up. I back up. Hey, it's all good. I'll give you time to cool down. But for the most part, I try to think better of you, and I try to help myself to understand that, hey, maybe they're going through something and I just don't know about it. I guess I'll leave them alone and let them go through it. And when they come around, just be a friend to them. But yeah, I kind of look for the best in people, or at least I try to. Sometimes I jump the gun and make a rash judgment based on how people behave to me too. But I try not to, because I don't want anybody to perceive me that way if I come off the wrong way. Okay, number 16. Okay. I sabotage my relationships, and then later on I lament it because I knew I could have had something great. Um, when I was in Marine Corps, there was a girl that used to swing by my room because my roommate was a very popular guy in the barracks. And she came by and he wasn't there, and she was giving me all the signals. she was giving me the green light to go, and I just ignored her because um, I'm naive like that. But I purposely sabotaged that because for some reason I'm just kind of introverted like that. I don't know why I'm like that. Um, there was another girl that I was dating. I sabotaged that relationship by moving on and dating another girl, and I even sabotaged that relationship. And it's just, I don't know. I tried to sabotage this last relationship with my my most recent ex girlfriend, but that didn't work out because she became obsessed with me, and she really pushed me to open up and to be more than just a closed book with her that she would pick up and try to read every now and then and never get through. But I don't know. There's just something about me that likes being alone, and when I think that we're getting very serious or or really close, I tend to back away. But um, I'm gonna have to put forth the effort to stop doing that because that's not healthy. It can't be healthy. Um, oh, let me open this up. Okay, number 17. I've had at least three bromances in 17 years. Now, you understand the term bromance, all right? No homo. But I can think of at least three guys that I have been friends with that if he wanted to go and do something stupid, I'll be like, yeah, dude, let's do that, you know. But at the same time, I kind of live my life a certain way now, and I'm not the rash 24-year-old that I used to be. I'm getting older, so I'm starting to be more mature about the way I do things and the decisions that I make concerning my life. But um, there's been at least three guy friends that I've had that if I was gonna go out and kick it with somebody, it would be with them. And if we were to have that Facebook experience where we both end up in jail, it would be me and him, my dude, just a dude that I can kick it with and be friends with. And I'd imagine us um, liking the same girl or whatever, something like that. But there's been at least three in 17 years. Okay, no, nothing homosexual. I'm just saying, a dude I've been really close friends with. All right, number 18. I have been brainwashed by the United States Marine Corps. I know because I don't believe a day goes by when I don't think about the Marine Corps. And I served during a time of peace. I was an administrative clerk. In civilian terms, I was a secretary. I was a desk jockey. But I'm constantly thinking about the Marine Corps. In fact, I just met a sergeant on my vacation, a Marine Corps sergeant. He's a young guy. He's a sergeant in the Marine Corps, and I finally spoke to him, shook his hand. He asked me what my name was. I shook his hand. I asked him what his MOS was. He told me. I told him what my MOS was, and I told him a little bit about what it was like when I went in, and I understand things are different. He's been through a war. I served during a time of peace, so I know there's a defining difference between veterans who served during peace and veterans who served during war. There is a difference, and I respect that difference. But it was interesting meeting him, and he was wearing his discipline uniform. He had his medals all perfect and whatnot. It was awesome. It was good to meet another fellow Marine and still feel that camaraderie. But yeah, for the most part, the Marine Corps has me brainwashed. But it's in a good way. It's nothing bad. So relax. Um, that brings me to number 19. After 9/11 occurred, I came very, very close to reenlisting in the United States Marine Corps because I felt that we had been wronged. I felt like we had been attacked, and I felt like we had every right to defend ourselves. But as I began to look to God, I began to realize that I can't just go gallivanting off to a war. I have a mission before God that I'll have to accomplish because of promises I made to Him, and because He's called me to a certain work. And so I decided, rather than running off and making a rash decision and going back into the military, why don't I pray, find out what God wants, and I told God, if you want me back in, you work up the fine details and get me back in, and I'll go. But He never did, so I never went back. And so I supported our troops from here. Number 20. The newest car that I've ever owned in my entire life, it was a 1996, and I bought that in 2006. All right. Let's see. 21. I have stated this before, but I am an introvert. But I love people. And it's a weird relationship because I like meeting people. I have a friend that's currently living in Toronto. I have friends living in Florida, the Philippines, all over the world. And I like knowing that I know these people, and I like meeting new people. But at the end of the day, I'm an introvert, and I gotta go into my house and lock the doors and stay away from all human interaction unless it's online with my Xbox or on my computer here. But yeah, that loving people but being an introvert is a weird relationship. Okay, number 22. I've kind of already touched on 22. People generally think I'm a nice guy. Um, when I meet them and I talk to them, I've had mostly women message me over Facebook telling me how sweet of a guy I am, how I'm such a nice guy, and how come I'm not married yet. Well, that's because I keep running off. But people generally, when they meet me, they think, wow, that guy, he's a nice guy. Number 23. What they don't know is I've had a temper problem. I have. And the older I get, it seems to be manifesting itself in the form of annoyance. Like when I was on vacation, I was eating lunch with two friends, and we're in a small backwoods American city, and there's that guy that comes to the restaurant and he eats, and he sits in the corner, and he's the weird guy, and everybody knows him. He comes into the restaurant every day, buys food, and sits in the same spot. Well, he came over, and he started talking to us, and he started talking to one of my friends, and as we sat there, I got this look on my face, I pursed my lips, and I just looked down and I started eating. But overall, I tried to smile and be nice. But when he walked off, I told my friend I was getting very annoyed. But my friend handled it. He handled it. So yeah, I've had a temper problem in the past that I had to deal with. I had to come to grips with and realize that Everybody doesn't hate me. Everybody isn't trying to afflict me, and everyone isn't trying to. Everybody isn't plotting my downfall. So I learned to get over that. At 24, I experienced how really small our planet is. I first had this realization of how small it is as a young Marine. I was fresh in the Marine Corps, fresh out of high school, and I was in Okinawa, Japan. And I walked into the chow hall, and I looked at a dude that was going to get his lunch, and I realized I went to high school with that dude. My cousin dated his cousin, and I walked up to him and I was like, Tater? And he looked at me and he was like, hey, when we recognized each other, I was like, wow, that's awesome. I didn't, Tater joined the Marine Corps. So, and he wasn't the only one. At the same time, I was on my way to the barracks, and I walked past another guy that I went to high school with. I was like, hey, man, how you doing? And we stopped and we talked very briefly, and then we went our separate ways. But I realized, man, this world is really small. And then to have explored some of Japan, I realized just how really small our planet is. Really small. Um, in number 25, I love doing things for which I have no natural talent for. For instance, I love to sing, but I realize that I can't. I wish that I could sing, but that's just not a talent that I possess. I do my best, but I just don't possess that talent. Um, I love to write, but I'm just not very good at articulating what I want you to experience from my characters. I do my best. I write poetry. I love writing poetry. In fact, April is poetry month, and I gotta get to work doing some poetry, some fresh and new stuff that I haven't written before, and I love doing that. But I'm not very good at it. Um, I'm not very good at making ASMR videos. I love making ASMR videos. I love experiencing ASMR, and I love it when people tell me that my videos did so much for them and brought them so many tingles and helped them to relax so much. But when I look at some of the other ASMR artists, some of the bigger names in ASMR, when I look at their videos, I'm like, oh my goodness. And it's not that I'm trying to compete with them, because I'm not. Um, but it's that I would like to make the quality product that Haley Whispering Rose makes. I'd like to make the quality product that Ephemeral Riff makes. I'd like to make the quality product that Kara Nova Star makes, that Mr. My Meridian makes, and all of these different ASM artists that I can't call their name to mind right now. There's so many. Um, but they just make such good quality videos. And I mean, they have the, I mean, they're just so good when they make their videos. But me, I'm just, I watched a video by, this one ASM artist, and he was showing his cologne collection, and it was just awesome. Let me see if I can find it. No, I may not be able to find it. In fact, I can't find it. No, no, I can't find it. But it's the fact that he just did such a good job in, presenting the bottles. And granted, as he sprayed the cologne and waved the napkin in front of the camera, I realized I couldn't smell anything, but it was just such a relaxing video. And so, ASMR is something that I like doing, and like a lot of things, I don't really have a talent for it. But what keeps me going is people telling me, that, and I'm not fishing for comments here. I'm not fishing for praise here. I'm not. But those few people that have inboxed me privately, who have emailed me privately over Reddit and over YouTube and over Facebook, they've sent me private messages saying that your video did so much for them. And I would call out their names, but they responded to me privately. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep it private and not say their names. But it made me feel good that I was making a product that benefited them. And the consensus seems to be the same, that they think that I'm just such a nice guy compared to the many dark corners on the interwebs. And I hope to portray that. I mean, there's been times where I've just been not wanting to hear all the nonsense that people talk about. And I like my Facebook friends, but sometimes they get on my nerves talking about how much people are hating on them. And I'm like, come on, really? Were you that hated? Or is that just a figment of your imagination? And it just gets so monotonous. But to get on and find that message from that one person that says your video did so much for me is heartwarming. And it drives me to make better content. It drives me to present myself in such a way that people are benefiting um, from something that I'm doing. And I like that because I really enjoy ASMR. I remember my first time experiencing ASMR, although at the time I didn't, um, it wasn't called ASMR. It was just a feeling that I got as a kid playing with my cousins. And I remember sitting there just staring off into the distance and having that feeling just come down my back and my spine. And I was just so very relaxed. And I hope to give that to others, to give them that experience. And even if they can't experience it, to give them something that can help them to relax and help them to fall asleep without medicating yourself. Just recently, I don't know the lady, but one of my coworkers does. She was a diabetic, and she takes certain medicines as a diabetic, but she took some over-the-counter medicine, some Xanax or something like that, and it was to help her to go to sleep. But what she ended up doing was putting herself into a coma. unfortunately, it was a coma from which she did not return. And it's sad because I have taken medications just to help me to sleep through the night. But when I discovered that I can listen to a video and close my eyes and force myself to relax and fall asleep that way, that's helped me immensely. And as a result, I've been wanting to give back to the ASMR community. And that is why I make my videos, because I just want to give back something that has given something to me. And on my way back from my trip, I was kicking around quitting YouTube. I was kicking around, just not getting rid of my videos, not shutting down my account, leaving my account up, but just pushing away from YouTube for a while. But I don't think at this point I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to continue to make content that people can listen to. I'm going to continue to do my role plays. I hope that my role plays get better. I hope that my video editing gets better. And I hope that I can find that one person that not only benefits from it because it's helping them to relax, but I hope they share something that'll give that person hope. Because like I said in these 25 things about me, I've suffered from depression, and I don't know if it was clinical or if it was just something spiritual or if it was just something in my mind, but I've suffered with it, and it's not fun. And to know that there are others out there who have experienced the same things that I did and learning how they overcame, that's wonderful to me, because that tells me that I'm not alone. I'm not the only one that's going through this. There are others too, and they have gone on and they're continuing on with their lives, and they're moving upward and onward and forward. So why can't I? So if I can inspire anyone to keep on going and to never give up and to keep pressing forward, um, I'm going to do that. So, well, anyway, I'm going to have to end this video. This was just 25 things about me. Um, I may have given you 40 things about me, but for the record, I did number them as I went along, so you should be able to distinguish between one from the other. And I purposely did this soft spoken. I purposely did this in an ASMR format because when I decided to turn this channel into an ASMR channel, I want to make sure that every video on it relaxes you. Alright? So, good night. Relax. Don't give up the fight. Just relax. Get your rest. And then get up and you get out there and you do battle again. Okay? This is Smile Observer, and